Hello and welcome everyone into another Amplitude Studios stream. Seems like we were just here, but we're back again. Hello everybody and happy Thursday. My name is Jordan and I am joined by two lovely guests here today. We got Lucy, we got Simone. As you can see, Lucy is an associate producer on the Humankind team, and Simone is the senior live ops manager. Quite the title.
Yes.
I guess you're for all of our games, but Humankind is kind of the main focus right now since it's the game that we're currently live servicing. So yeah, very
Indeed,
cool.
Indeed. Yeah, it's a long title to just basically say that with my team and I, we are working on supporting various development teams across all the live phases of the game, making sure that the team has the proper data to analyze what the players, what you guys are actually saying, and to make sure that we can properly tackle those feedbacks into updates. Hence the discussion that we have today.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. The last stream that we had with Simon was an adventure, so I think he's going to
Oh,
keep us
really?
on our toes, Lucy.
Can't wait.
Yeah, Simon has a lot of energy. I have energy too. It's just like a slower burn, I feel like. Whereas Simon is more of like a firecracker of
Yeah.
energy, you know?
But it's going to be one hour stream, I guess, so
I
at
mean,
some point I will be like
Yeah,
that, you know?
yeah, after you walk out of this room, you're going to go take a nap. But
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'll still be here. We'll still be here after the interview portion. Stephanie's going to come on, our community manager. Obviously, you know her. And we'll go and just dive right into the game and kind of try and show as many of the updates, changes that came in the update as possible. So, but I think we should probably get away with a little bit of introductions, before we get too deep into our conversation here today. Simon the Firecracker Digay. I like it. I shall dub you Simon the Firecracker Digay. Cool. So maybe we'll start off with you since you've already been here, Simon. Lucy,
Yeah.
no, you've been here too.
No, I haven't.
No, you haven't.
I haven't.
Okay.
This is my first time.
But we've talked a lot.
Yeah.
We have
did.
talked a lot. So let's start with you, and then we'll get over here. You, like you were mentioning, you work in the live ops. You were first started with us several months, probably like 5 or 6 months after the start of Humankind, right?
You mean when I joined?
When you joined
Yeah,
Amplitude,
I'm still a newbie, I would say overall, because
newish, yeah.
newish. That kind of work. I joined in July 2022, so it will
Okay.
be. I'm going to celebrate my Ampliversary in a couple of months now.
Very good.
And I joined at that time in order to keep growing the existing live operation and data structure that existed at the time, in order to again make sure that we can have but we can make the proper bridge between the development team and the rest of the support teams in order to listen to the players.
Yeah, very cool. All right. I like it. You're very concise. He's so good at explaining things. All right, Lucy, tell us a little bit about yourself. You are also almost coming up to your
Yeah.
anniversary here at Amplitude.
Simon and I actually joined on the same day.
Oh yeah, that's
Really?
right, that's right, I forgot, yeah.
So yeah, I actually joined Amplitude as an intern for my end of study internship, and I've been staying here. I got a full contract now, so it's an amazing experience. And yeah, I'm an associate producer, so my role is to basically help the team, the production team, to make the decision go quicker and just overall lessen their meeting
Workload.
Yeah, sorry.
You're good. You're good. You're doing great.
And just make sure things are getting out, you know.
Awesome.
Make sure you guys have new updates with great content.
No, yeah. Producers are an essential part of the game development process. I don't know if I could ever do what you all do. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I mean,
It's
sometimes
really
people.
tough.
Yeah. Sometimes people think that we only do meetings and we just spend all our day in meetings
I
and
mean,
do
it
nothing.
kind of seems that way,
I mean,
honestly. There's a lot of
It
discussions
does,
that are had.
yeah. But we also do something on the side.
Yeah. There's
We're
some
not
other
just
things.
always in meeting.
Yeah, that's super cool. Before you worked here, you said you got an internship. Where were you
Yeah.
working beforehand?
Well, it was my first experience in a game studio. So.
Okay, so that is exactly what it was for me too.
Yeah.
I graduated from college, and then my wife was like, "Let's go move to Paris," and I was like, "Aight." And so for me,
Yay.
this was my first like corporate professional experience. Obviously, I did my own live streams before, so
Yeah.
I had my own experience of being a goofball. But you know, I guess we're in the same boat then.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. Well, I think that this past year has been really amazing. I know that you worked on the scenarios a bit there for. Didn't you work on the scenarios? Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, just lately, I
Mhm.
worked more on the DLC, Wonders Pack DLC.
For the Wonder Pack,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
That
very
was my first big mission. I also did work on the anniversary updates we did last year as my first mission as an intern. So that was kind of cool. And I also took care of the onboarding for the expansion pack. So the new tutorial videos and promoting the expansion to the players.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's good to have you both in here. I am excited for our conversation here, and I'm excited to start talking about the Vauban update. So in case you all haven't heard, Humankind just got a new update, the Vauban update, which has a host of things, and we're going to go into each of those different things that come with it, and talk about kind of some of the reasons why we did these different things, what sort of feedback that we were responding to, etc. We won't be talking as much about the DLC, which is the Wonders Pack, since we did talk about that yesterday. And if you did miss yesterday's stream, that's okay. You can go back, watch the VOD. We will be putting up a little shortened version of that on YouTube as well soon. So it'll exist in the internet forever, and you can go and find it if you want. But essentially, the Vauban update is supposed to go hand in hand with the Wonders DLC, as Together We Rule was a diplomatic DLC. The Wonders Pack is more of an aggressive, warlike DLC where all the Wonders are designed to help you fight each other. And so the Vauban update very much is designed to kind of go along with that and provide quality of life and kind of some improvements to the gameplay. There's a lot of really cool things in the update, and of course it's a free update, so
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
just amazing.
It's good to remind all of you guys, all of us, that each time we are shipping out a DLC or any paid content, it always comes with a free update, because as you said, and it was very true for Together We Rule with the Metternich update at the time, we needed the rest of the game to properly synergize with the expansion content. And today, the Vauban and Wonders Pack, they don't need to synergize that much because the new Wonders, they are kind of in a specific area of the game. But still, we did need to rework the existing Wonders and do some proper balancing on top of that in order for them to work alongside with it. And then, as you mentioned, tons of content afterwards in terms of quality and, of life and stuff.
I think the biggest change in the Vauban update would be the redesign of the Wonders. If we're just going to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Because each of the Wonders in the Wonder Pack, not all of them have the new kind of adjacency function, but apart from those Wonders, all the previous Wonders had their effects changed, balanced, or were given some of these adjacency effects, which means that the kind of old meta is kind of shifting to a much more specific of where you want to place the Wonder. Before, I kind of just placed them on the cutest cliffside somewhere where I could see the Wonder perfectly. But, I mean, especially like with the Citadel of Alamut, you want to place that in kind of a mountainous region to get the most faith bonuses. I'm trying to think of the one that gives you more stability around it. Is that the Colosseum? No, the Colosseum.
No,
or
it's
isn't
not.
that one.
It's the. Oh
One of them
gosh.
gives you
Yeah.
stability for having stuff around it.
Sorry.
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. wasn't planning on talking about this, but yeah. So a lot of these wonders that you have come to know and love are going to be a little bit different and maybe require a little bit more strategic planning as you design your cities. And in terms of what it's going to look like, it will be a little bit more thematic, a little bit more pretty to have these wonders nestled in as you design your city. Because obviously, you know, one of the most important parts of humankind is making your cities look good. So.
Yeah. And you know, that's something we realized when analyzing how the players place their wonders on the map. Usually they used to place them on the edge of their city, and so the wonders didn't have that many effect. You know, you placed it once, you have the effect bonus, and then it kind of just lives there. And what we really wanted to do was make them a bigger part of your city, so that's why we added the adjacent bonus. And one thing really cool about it that I just learned this afternoon actually was that the agency bonus follows kind of a historical path. We made sure that the wonders that in real life are inside of big cities do get an adjacent bonus, while the wonders that are usually more on either countryside or kind of isolated won't get that agency bonus.
Yeah, you know, it's a bit thematic where, you know, the Colosseum would be like in the center of the city where people are, you know, coming to it to, you know, watch people fight and stuff. Very cool. I didn't get the Colosseum yesterday. I got the stables, the Pyrameses stables though. Very strong. I was still not able to destroy Sergio though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he had help from Adrian as well, so it was a little bit of a team up. But
so are you saying
I'm trying to make friends here, and they're all trying to kill me? I don't even know. Hey, we do have a raid from Resurgence though. Resurgence is a Humankind creator of ours, so thank you very much for the raid. And if anybody, I'm pretty sure Resurgence only streams in French. Correct me if I'm wrong, bro. But so if you speak French and you love Humankind content, definitely go give them a follow. Spanish Armada teaming up, I guess. But anyway, sorry. You were saying, Simon?
I wanted to ask a cheeky question about yesterday's game. Are you saying that Sergio victory was not deserved?
No, he definitely deserved to be in first place. I was just sad that third and fourth place didn't team up with me to try and dethrone him, because you know, it would have been so, you know, satisfying to knock him off of the first place. But you know.
But yeah, talking about the adjacency, it's a tough word for me to pronounce. The bonuses that you get when you're sticking building, you know, close to each other. It's super cool, the opportunity that we have now to give players more sense of agency when building, while still benefiting from bonuses on the feed. And indeed, as Lucy was explaining, it's super cool to have some kind of role play in a way behind that, getting some kind of historical sense of, okay, this wonder, this temple was close to the agora back in the days, so it's going to get some economical bonus alongside with it. So we hope that this will make sense to our players based on that. We hope that it will have some kind of significant impact, but without breaking the game. I kind of saw a comment regarding the meta changes and the fact that it might not be as impactful. It's always a tricky exercise for us, you know, because first and foremost, we need to make sure that this works with the new DLC content, but that's just the basics, you know. Then we want to kind of change the way that players are using them, nerf the ones that are overly used, let's say, and buff the ones that are not used enough, but without breaking anything and changing stuff too significantly. So it's a balancing exercise. No, it's it's a fine line to walk on, but we hope that it will make sense for you guys ultimately.
Cool. Just a quick note to chat. Resurgence, thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day. As well, if there are any questions, feel free to add us in the chat, and we will kind of answer all the questions at the end during a Q&A portion. So if you have questions, don't think that we're ignoring you. Please do put them in the chat. Just know that we won't be able to see and answer all of them in the same moment, so sometimes we'll have to get back to you later. But let's start talking about the update, because there's a lot of really cool things that are coming in the update. One of the ones that we were just talking about before we started streaming had to do with the narrative events. And the narrative events I've always thought have been really cool. I love reading them, doing voices, whatever. It's very fun to me to be able to have that option to role play if you want, or just, thematically choose based off of what type of a ruler you want to be, or if you're the type of person that's just like, that one says money and I want money, so I choose that one, or that one says more industry, so I choose that one. That's totally fine too. We all have our different preferences. However, some of the narrative events were either impossible to trigger or very difficult to trigger, and so one of the changes that came in the Vauban update is that the kind of hidden narrative events are going to be a lot easier to trigger. And so we're going to be seeing a bunch of new events that maybe you've never even seen before, including the ferret versus cats narrative events, which you were saying was a series of events. It's kind of like it leads you through.
Yeah, it's actually on 3 chapters. The first chapter was actually already correctly implemented in the game and working perfectly. But the second and third chapter were having a bit of trouble with the trigger conditions, so we tweaked that a little bit, and now they're popping perfectly. And actually, this event is about, your city is infested with rats and mice, and you have to choose either cats or ferrets to prevent that and get rid of them. And so choosing either Team Cats or Team Ferrets will get you a really nice illustration if you end the game with the space race condition. Actually, just a little, just a little spoiler. Actually,
I love it. I think people have heard about this
You're
Easter
spoiling
egg.
them.
There you go.
Don't show it, don't show it, don't
No.
show it. That's good.
And actually, it's not just a buff or a tweak of the trigger condition to show narrative event that we're having trouble to pop up. It's also a balancing on the narrative events that did pop too much. We know that some narrative events popped almost at every game you learned. So
the whole flooding my city one.
Yeah, for
I
example.
always get that. I'm like,
so
I'll pay 200 gold to make a dam, and then I don't get any bonuses. Dang it. Chances of good consequences out the door. But
so once again, just a good balancing of all of them, just to make sure that they're popping enough, that they give you good rewards at the end. So that it stays a bit interesting as well. And yeah, just making sure everything is popping just like it should.
yeah, very cool. I'm excited to see what events pop up.
Yeah, definitely. This is such a strong part of our game, or at least we want it. Obviously, we hope you guys like it, but we want it to be a strong part of our game. Obviously, we are 4X first and foremost, but we do have some very good writers in our team. It's super true for our endless games as a whole, and we like for you guys to have the opportunity to create your own story in a way, obviously, because this is not a full anecdote factory game, obviously, but still, and there is, I believe, still so much untapped potential into what we do. So at least the opportunity for you to explore more diverse situation and to have an additional sense of tension into having diverse experiences for each games. Well, we hope that will help for you for the replayability and, avoid the repeat factor of, this game is very much looking like the previous one. And yeah, and since there is this incredible Easter egg of the specific illustration for this is like the little detail of love that only less than 1% of players will see at the end, but someone here in the team has made a drawing of it at some point, and some of you hopefully are going to see it.
Yeah, very cool. I'm definitely Team Cat. I lived with 2 ferrets when I first arrived here in France, and they're the stinkiest animals I've ever been around. And I've been around like cows and horses and stuff. Like I grew up around those. But dang it, if those ferrets aren't stinky. Apparently, they have a stink gland. Like they have a
Oh, really?
gland inside of them that creates the musk, the stink. I've never thought about Elon Musk meaning musk. Okay, sorry. Weird connection there.
We'll thought.
These ferrets got out of their cage because the owner, she put them in like a hamster cage or something.
Yeah.
Which ferrets are actually so smart that they can just unlatch the cage and like they can get out of almost anything.
Mm.
And they started running around the house, and I was like, I gotta get it back in the cage. And so I grabbed a towel because I was like, I don't want this ferret to bite me. And I just kind of like threw the towel on top of the ferret and then like hugged it because like I was like, don't run. And then I like put it back in the cage.
Oh, and oh, it ended well. I
ended
was
well,
afraid
yeah.
that at some point, like it's and then the ferret died or something. And I was
No.
ready for something tragic. You know?
No,
Oh
That's
my
good.
this
God.
is
That's
my
good.
experience, and this is why I'm firmly in Team
Mm.
Cat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I get it.
Cats you don't need to put in a cage, but ferrets you do because they will find their way into your walls or something. Yeah, can we get some hashtag Team
Yeah.
Cats or hashtag
We have a
Team
lot of
Ferrets, in
Team
the
Cat
chat?
actually.
Cat, I mean, because cats are awesome, obviously.
Can I be Team Dogs? I don't want either. Can you please redesign the
Yeah.
event to make some kind of dogs appear
The dogs
and
catch
save
the
rats or
catches the
something?
mice.
We could maybe do an event about dogs.
I don't think dogs really like catch. Oh, good. There's an active poll in the chat. This is exactly what we needed.
Yeah.
Team
Team
Rat.
Owl.
Team Owl.
Wow.
These are options. We only gave you 2 options.
And yeah, for the events, mainly it was because it's a lot of work to do even one narrative events
Oh yeah.
for our game designers, for our writers. So we really wanted to make sure that the players can enjoy them
Yeah.
at their full potential.
Yeah, I mean, essentially lost content if people can't trigger it. So
Yeah.
it's amazing that that is now a thing. We're very happy
Yeah,
about that.
if we are purely looking on the production perspective,
Mm.
this is not the return on investment that we are hoping for. Obviously we are making games, so we are not necessarily directly talking about money and production
Yeah.
and stuff here. But still, it was a shame. It was a shame. So let's hope that you guys will be able to enjoy all of them.
Yeah. The Cats won with 12 votes. Let's go. Wait, but it was only
Ooh.
52%?
Really? It's that
oh my
tight?
gosh. Where's the bribe option for the poll again? Whoever set up the poll didn't turn it on. We actually do have a bribe option where you
Oh,
can
you do?
like, yeah, you can put bonus channel points in to like
Ooh.
sway it in your favor. By 1 vote. What was the other
Just like
option?
in the
It was just Team
Congress.
Ferret versus Team Cat. Team Ferret gland. Gross.
Oh yeah, gross.
Alrighty, cool. Well, let's keep on chatting. So those events are going to be an amazing bonus. But in terms of other things, one of the other big ones was the AI and how they behave and
Yeah.
how they expand in the early game. Some of you were beating up on the AI and making them look bad, and so we kind of changed the way that the AI think. I'm not an AI programmer myself, so I don't really understand it completely on how that works, but I've seen it in action, and the AI is much better at, grabbing an outpost, attaching that outpost to a city, making another outpost, and actually moving around the map in a much more logical way rather than, well, this is my city and here I am, and you could just easily kind of just do circles around them. But now it's a lot, I think, more interesting, and so that's one of the things that I think people are going to notice right off the bat, because after the Neolithic era, you get into the Ancient, and then the AIs are going to town. But yeah, why was this something that we felt like it needed to be changed, I guess?
Yeah, actually, that was a consequences of the AI modification we made. We wanted the AI to improve its face and influence management, and by influencing the influence management, now the AI uses more outposts and expands a lot more because we did that rework.
Right. So they're essentially generating more influence because they have more cities, have more population,
Yeah.
etc.
So now they know how to use the influence a lot better. which will make the game even more interesting. Like you said, it was very challenging because now the AI kind of expands quite a lot on the first era. So that's kind of cool. And we already got a lot of players' feedback on that, that's saying, oh wow, the AI is like expanding a lot more, and that's kind of cool. So we are really thrilled.
And it might be a controversial decision to a certain extent, because we have seen a couple of early feedbacks wondering why the AI got all of a sudden so aggressive in a way. So again, this is a matter of balance here, because as Lucy explained, this is kind of a side effect, because first and foremost, the idea of the modification was to make sure that, okay, in late game, AI is not using properly their influence and face stock. We need to do something about that. And then, the AI seems to get clever into managing their influence early game. Obviously, for any AI programmer listening to this stream, this is way more complicated than that, and I may be getting some stuff wrong, but that's the general idea. And it might make the game more difficult in early game as a consequence, but at least in terms of assumption for us on a creative standpoint, this is what we want to do. This is how we want the AI hopefully to interact with the player in early game. So it might come with some more frustration, especially with, oh no, I wanted this territory so badly and this AI has claimed it. I know that as a player myself, when I play a game of Endless Space 2, I am like in fear of AI claiming the good systems, around me. But still, we want the AI to be more clever about it. So that being said, it's always a work in progress situation. It's always about iterating. If you guys feel that in the end the AI is too aggressive or is not using it cleverly or is cheating, obviously let us know. I'm sure you will let us know anyway, and maybe we can revert or tweak accordingly. But we do think, at least we do hope, that it's a step in the right direction.
Very cool, yeah. I think, in a lot of ways it forces you to learn how to counteract people that are expanding.
Yes.
Or rapidly expanding. Yeah. And I didn't actually know this, but you can keep them from turning an outpost into a city or attaching it by being present in that area, or like ransacking it. I can't remember. This literally happened in a game of ours, and I was like, oh, but I need to just like leave the territory really quickly to like come around so that I can actually burn it down, because I was like close to it, but I had to go down a ridge that led outside of the territory. But the second I left, the AI was like, attach. It's part of my city now. And I was like, no. So I think that there's a bit of learning that I need to do specifically, but also I think probably our players will learn a bit more about how the AI works, and it might change the way that you play the game. Which I think is always a good idea.
Yeah, like we said, it's a bit more challenging on the early eras, but we'll see what the players think.
Yeah, I might have to go back to Metropolis difficulty. Dang it! But yeah, so that's very cool.
Yeah, and we know that, how to say, we have seen some regular complaints about the quality of our AI in the game. We are aware of it. Obviously, I think we need to remind that this is a super tricky topic. It's always a tricky topic in any video game, but I think it's especially true for strategy games as a whole. So I don't want to hide, behind some kind of excuses saying, oh, it's super complicated and stuff, but it is, actually it is. And I don't think that there is any way to make an AI perfect. And so there will always be some complaints and stuff to tweak. We do hope that it will get better and better, and we do want you guys to keep sharing what you think about the AI, whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I think if you compare from a year ago, from where the AI was, I think the AI does play a lot more intelligently and is funner to play against than it was. Definitely there's still some things like if you play the game long enough, you'll realize that they'll probably never accept your counter offers for money unless they happen to be sitting on some cash. Usually they're gonna spend it, but yeah, so very cool. Alrighty, let's keep on moving on. We got a lot of stuff to cover. We did talk about the narrative events.
Yep.
The instant resolve battles,
Yeah, we
and
can
as
talk
well,
about
I
it.
think there was a small thing about the kill count.
Yep.
We did find it on stream last night. You'll notice on some of your units that have survived a couple of fights, maybe killed a couple of units, that there's a new little icon on the UI that looks a little bit like an X, and it'll have a number, and that is how many units the troop has killed. And very useful just for bragging rights. You can say, oh, my Gothic cavalry has actually taken out, 10 units. This one has only taken out 1. But that little unit destroyed thing actually has a benefit apart from just bragging rights, which is when you retire that unit, you'll actually get a kickback of money for every kill that unit has racked up, which I think is super cool, you know?
Yeah.
It gives so much flavor to your game in terms of role play, in terms of getting attached to your unit, and you don't want. Now the veterancy makes so much more sense. And what's super interesting about this specific modification as well is that it was an ID shared by the community on our amplifiers ID section.
Yeah,
Of
the
the
ideas
website.
section.
I don't know if someone somewhere can plug the ID section. It's now, guys. We are reviewing those IDs fairly regularly, and obviously we cannot tackle everything. But this specific one, it was obviously part of stuff that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Very, very, very often some of those IDs are stuff that are part of our own production backlog. But this was not necessarily a quick thing because I guess it required some work in the end, but it get done and it's in the game, and I think it has some value to a player nonetheless.
Yeah.
Oh, you only get the money if you have the Les Invalides wonder. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, scratch what I said then. But that is a huge incentive to get that wonder. The Les Invalides wonder is really, really good. It allows you to heal your units outside of your territories,
Yeah.
outside of territories that you control, I should say. But yeah, as another perk, I guess that is where the money comes from. Okay.
So you can see the IDs section on the screen, and this is the specific IDs that we are talking about. And as you can see, there is a possibility to.
It was for the achievements actually. I know you have an achievement where one of your units must kill a certain number of other units to win the
But you
achievement.
couldn't see how many units they
But
had
you
killed,
couldn't see
so
how
it's
many
really
units
hard
you
to
killed.
figure
Yeah,
out
yeah.
how
There
close
was
you were.
another
I think that
impact.
Without just
was
counting.
more for the achievements.
So as you can see, Anonymous posted this ID at some point, and we had the opportunity to see that a lot of users on amplifiers were upvoting the ID, and so it caught our attention. Because we thought, oh, that's a nice ID. This is something that we want to do.
Yeah.
It's feasible on a production standpoint because obviously we are a live game and we do not have unlimited resources, so we cannot tackle everything. And this is part of the idea that we have greenlit and I believe implemented now, so we need to update the status. And we even have a lovely answer from our dear Ben Blond, the one and only Benoit, our game director, who was here yesterday. So for those of you who are actively using the IDs section, we know that there are still a lot, there are some IDs that needs to be reviewed, needs to have a status addressed, etc. We wanted to let you know today that we are working on it. And again, since we are on live projects, our means are limited, so we are not able to update this section each and every single day, but
periodically.
Yeah,
But
periodically.
yeah,
And
but we
we'll be
see,
going in
everything that you guys post, and we do take everything into consideration. So
And even if we have set a 1 million points threshold to review the ID, because the more you vote, the more your ID gets some points, and at some point we have set up an arbitrary threshold to say, okay, we are going to review your ID. It's not mandatory for us to check it. As Lucy was saying, we are looking at every single one, maybe not every single one, but
Benoit might be looking at every single one.
Benoit is looking. Is looking as.
He's really making sure all the players, can participate as well.
I think
in
it's
the game.
important for our community to feel like they're being heard.
Yeah, of course.
And whenever on our social media accounts people just drop their ideas in the comments section, I'm like, I love it. But you realize that only I'm listening to this. I was like,
Yeah.
you got to go put these ideas on amplifiers because that's where the designers are going to see it. Obviously, I can forward these ideas. I can talk to them in person. But the ideas section is really that powerhouse where it's organized. Other people can see your ideas, and then they can upvote it. And that gives purpose to the whole, amplifier point system, which is based off of your commitment to the community, commitment to our games, and you get more games together points by getting like achievements in the game. I don't know how familiar. Maybe you can say in the chat how familiar you are with the point system on games to get amplifiers. Games together is just ingrained in my brain. But yeah, so that's like a huge important part of it. So. But yeah, no, there's a ton of really great ideas on there.
Yeah,
and
most definitely.
even if we don't get to every single idea and implement every single idea, do keep in mind that, our company, we're looking forward to the future. We intend on making Humankind 2 at some point. And so even if maybe something doesn't make it into Humankind 1, do keep in mind, we will keep those ideas, and if they fit in a future game, we're definitely going to use it. They're good ideas regardless, so don't stop putting your ideas in there. We really need them. So
yeah, and regardless of how to say, we make strategy games, as I believe you say in the introduction of the channel on Twitch.
yeah.
So even if some ideas can look and sound very Humankind specific, at the end of the day, we are maker of strategy games, so it can benefit all of us.
Yeah. Specifically about the console release, I do think in the terms or in the context of talking about, the future, I will say I've been cleared to say this. So the Humankind console version production is going well. We're still working with Aspire, our partner, and things are looking good. However, we aren't going to have a date just yet, so hold on. But I can say that we will most likely have the console version for you by the end of the year. So, obviously there's a lot of year left. I'm not being specific, but it is something that, of course, we are still working on. We're actively working on it. We don't want you to think that we're not working on it, because we are. But we do want to do it right.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that it is in a good place where people will be happy about it. So, but yeah, I just wanted to take a second to say that, because I know that we do get a lot of questions, a lot of
it's not the first question we heard about console.
people
Actually,
want to know. So G to G forever. I liked the name Games Together, but amplifiers is cool too.
I mean, yeah, but we kind of knew a bit late that there was going to be that change actually.
Yes, yeah.
On the production side.
I feel that. Yeah.
And as I take care of the localization, so all the text in the game, we had to replace all the G2G by amplifiers, and it was like
it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
so last minute.
Rebranding is a lot.
There was a bit of a story here in terms of making sure that everybody was well in advance.
Yeah.
But keep dropping us some ideas. We
of
are reading it and we are looking at it. And when I say we, at least Benoit is doing it anyway.
Yeah, we forgot to talk about Brussels.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Brussels Town Hall.
So there is another aspect of the Vauban update as well. So during Amplified 2023, which if you haven't heard of it, where you been? But Amplified 2023 was our anniversary for the studio, where we do our streamathon, and we basically stream straight for 3 days. It's a lot of work, but we love doing it, and it's very fun because of the community interactions and everything. And usually we'll have a community challenge, something that you all, the community, come together, work towards, and one of the rewards was a wonder. Era 4 Wonder, the Town Hall of Brussels, is the one that you all unlocked. And so that is now implemented into the game with the Vauban update. And the Town Hall of Brussels, I actually was just there the last weekend.
I saw your post on the Amplifier. Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, like I was just there. I happened to have a picture of me there. Yeah, don't worry, we'll get to it. We're not even done yet.
We are not. What time is it? We have plenty of things to cover.
Yeah,
Are we
Yeah,
talking
I don't
too
know why
much?
people are trying to rush us here. We got lots of topics to go. But anyways, the Town Hall of Brussels has its own unique set of bonuses and everything as well. So feel free to go in. You can look at all the individual bonuses on our blog as well. Which if you do !Vauban in Twitch chat, at least on YouTube, you'll have to just go to amplifiers. But !Vauban will get you that most recent blog post, and that has all the details. But as you can see, it's beautiful. Good to have it in the game. Good. Congratulations, everybody, for working hard during Amplified. It's a good wonder. It is a good wonder. Agreed. It's got it gives you some industry, some money, some influence, and you slap it straight in the middle of your town.
And do anybody knows why we chose this specific wonder? I either don't know or forgot, but
It's pretty magnificent. Having been there,
Yeah.
it's really
I
amazing.
never been
Yeah.
to Brussels, and it's very not far from here. But
I haven't either.
I know on the blog it mentions some like history about each of the wonders, so people can read a little bit about that there. Unfortunately, we don't have Benoit here today, but I believe he was saying that the Brussels Town Hall is the first of its kind, and it's kind of was the model for a lot of other town halls
okay.
in the area. But if you go there, it's this magnificent building, and the entire square around you is like all the buildings are like gilded in gold. It's very shiny, especially when the sun is out. But as far as like the cultural significance of like that specific building, I can't answer that question because I don't know. But
yeah, it's a cool, nice addition that keeps complementing the rest of the wonders. We know that you guys like that kind of content, so it's great.
yeah, definitely. Very cool.
Did we talk about the instant resolve
No, we
preview?
didn't.
No, we were talking
Skip
about
through
the
it.
combat and
Yeah.
the kill count, and then we got distracted by
Yeah.
other things. But yeah, so you have the kill count, which is nice. But then also in terms of combat, you have the instant resolve. And the instant resolve function is something that I normally didn't use in the past, just because I wasn't sure like what was going to happen.
Oh, really?
But when you hover over the instant resolution button, you'll actually get a prediction of what is going to happen, which of your units will die, and how much health your remaining units will have left,
Yeah.
if any.
This is my screenshots.
Yeah.
actually. This is my game. I'm in the stream twice.
yeah. Let's go.
So I did not take that fight against that mammoth at that time, because as you can see, it would have been a very tricky situation for my two nomadic tribes. So I waited, and
Yeah.
then I came back and I
Yeah.
smashed it.
The mammoths are pretty rough,
decision.
especially when you just have the tribes. So
Yeah, of course.
Belgian waffles are just pretty good, all right? Yeah, they are. Honestly, I ate, I think, 6 or 7 different waffles in the course of like 20,
A weekend?
36
wow.
hours. Yeah.
Okay. You did like a waffle marathon?
I did a waffle marathon, and I actually rated them on my Instagram stories, where I was like,
wow.
this was like a 5.2. This one was like an 8.7. Like
Ooh.
the like plain Liège waffle. So they have like 2 types of waffles. You have the Belgian waffle, which is the fluffy, kind of battery one. But then you have the Liège waffle, which is almost like a dough, and then they put that pearls sugar
Yeah.
on it, and it crusts into this kind of like crystallized waffle magical thing, and it was very delicious.
I'm kind of starting to get hungry now.
I'm sorry. I'm the worst. I was eating Thai food before we started. And now I'm
And now you're talking about
waffles.
waffle?
But yeah, no, Belgium's got a lot to offer. They have the fries as well, which is super popular. There was a great fry place that we went to twice.
Mm.
Again, in the course of like 36 hours, we just were like, let's go. So we did it.
Yeah.
French fries.
French
or
fries
frites
or
belges. I love it, Lord.
And so to go back to the instant battle result.
Thank you. Lucy's like, I'll keep us on track.
I mean, someone have to.
Yeah, I know, right?
So actually, if you are just like me and don't really like battles on games, you used to click instant resolution on your battles almost every time, and and it was kind of frustrating because sometimes you thought you were gonna win, and you ended up losing, and you didn't know why. So the main purpose is to stop that frustration that some players could have, that I had as well. So now you know exactly what units are going to be killed in battle, what damage you're going to take, and you are more, how do you say that? Serene.
Calm.
Yeah,
Calm, yeah.
more calm.
And you
going
have-
into that battle.
You could say
and
serene.
serene. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the word I was.
It's a bit, it's like
Yeah, but
Zen-like though. It's like you're
Oh.
meditating, like, oh.
Okay, well, not that word.
Acceptable losses. That's what I'm gonna.
Not necessarily
That's
losses,
my
but
mantra,
you-
but that's like humankind.
that makes sense.
Acceptable losses.
No,
How
but
many people to build this monument? 6? I got 10 people. Acceptable losses.
yeah, either you could choose to not go into that battle because you know you lose too much,
Yeah.
or you can go in pretty calm and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I know I'm gonna lose maybe some units, but it still be good enough to,
It's still worth it.
to
Yeah.
engage in
I
battle.
think also as well the way that those instant resolutions are calculated was kind of stepped up as well, where
Yeah.
it's taking into account the position and it takes into account a wider area of like the terrain to kind of calculate
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Where before, I guess it was mostly just about the combat strength versus the other combat strength.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly. Again, not a designer,
Mm.
but I think in the patch notes it mentions a little bit about that. So yeah, so that's very helpful.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I'll be using the auto resolve feature a lot more now,
Yeah.
especially when it's battles.
Can't believe you never used it actually.
No,
But Jordan is a fighter. I've seen some of your
that's
stream on
why.
Endless.
strategy. There's
Oh,
so,
no, I'm
there's
like
so-
I'm like you see when I'm playing a 4X, and it's true for Amplitude's game and other game. I don't like to fight. I don't. I'm doing everything in auto, and I'm here for the economy. It sounds ridiculous, but I am here for the
Yeah.
economy.
I mean, people
Jordan,
love
okay?
I'm here for the
simulators, Simon, so it's
diplomacy.
not that weird.
And even when I'm playing a Total War, for example, but I'm not that much into RTS, but I do like the 4X part of Total War. And actually, Total War Warhammer 2, I think, was a definitive inspiration for us in terms of what instant resolve could look like, and to
Yeah.
make sure that the player has some agency. I'm actually curious to have your opinion, guys, about this change, because in my mind, I believe that it's a universal consensus that having the clear impact of the automatic battle is a good thing. This is my assumption, and I don't know if any one of you disagree on that. If yes, you need to tell it no. Or
Yeah, I
For
mean,
now,
feel free
they're
to say in the
actually
chat.
battling between
but-
Pau Chocolat and Chocolat.
Ah,
so
yes.
the-
Yeah, oh my god.
We're not
Even-
on the same
We got
subject.
the food discussion going, and it's
Yeah.
hard to stop it once it gets started. But
Well, I will be taking a very close look about feedback on this, because yes, again, my assumption is that everybody wants it to be that way, and it's
Yeah.
super hard for me to be that absolute, So I'll be curious to see.
yeah, I do agree that we need to auto resolve this argument. Oh gosh, yeah. Well, I think for me as a player, the way that I see it is some of the battles I want to min max. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm gonna take the high ground. I'm gonna hide in the forests. And I'm going to shoot my archers out and, do the perfect thing. I'm going to force them onto a river tile so
Wow.
that they get a slight debuff. And then I'm going to attack with my slightly weaker unit last so that they have a greater chance of survival, because then they'll be heavily wounded. There's a lot of really intense combat strategy that you can employ when you've played the game enough, which I am by no means an expert, but I do know that this is a huge thing. However, in a multiplayer game, or let's say we're on stream and we're just keep on battling and it's all just battling for the sake of entertainment, I might just auto resolve because I'm like, you don't need to see that one, So I think the needs of whoever's playing might be very different depending on whether you're playing alone, whether you're streaming it, whether you like doing the battles, whether you don't like doing
Yeah.
the battles. So
I like this comment. I like the feeling that I can do better than the game suggests. This is definitely something that I felt myself when playing Total War game. Okay, I'm not that much into the RTS part, but okay, those are not acceptable losses. I can do better as a human player, and the fact that I'm getting actually better, even if maybe it's rigged, you know, maybe the AI was too dumb and stuff, but still, I felt a bit comforted by that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, everybody plays games for different reasons. I think it's part of the reason why making games is so tough is because everybody wants something different. But I think it's part of the beauty of video games is that you can have a game that everybody's playing the same version of it, but you're playing it for much different reasons and you're getting different things out of it.
Yeah.
You know,
That's the beauty of video games as a whole, and I guess especially in our genre, in our niche, the fact that you can win a game by being scientific or by being a diplomat or by being a warrior, it's great in terms of fantasy for the player, and it's not that great for the producer and production to make sure that everything works, but it's true that this is the experience that we want to deliver.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, makes sense. Well, I think that will be a huge help in terms of the general combat experience, and obviously we'll keep our eye on the feedback as well.
Yeah.
Do we want to move on to the
Maybe the
also
UI
I
improvements?
think we should talk about the
Oh,
performance.
we
Yeah.
did. We didn't talk about the rest of the UI improvements. So we talk about the kill counts.
Let's get into it then.
But we didn't talk about the new demand all and renounce all buttons.
True. Quality
is
of life.
Quite a good quality
Very
of life.
nice to have. I often have many grievances as I
Yeah.
play religiously hostile.
Yeah,
So whenever
imagine.
anybody doesn't convert to my religion, I'm like, that's a grievance. So it's quite nice, and I find myself, just getting those diplomat stars easier and easier, which is good. But yeah, huge quality of life. I don't think anybody's upset by a renounce all button. I know some people have asked for a buy all resources button. That one's a bit trickier. I did talk to somebody about that one, and
And I remember maybe we had this conversation together, but
could be.
but I have the same like, oh, it's a cool idea, and I had some discussion with someone on the production side. I think it was someone, a developer actually. Yeah, it's a cool idea, but it's less easy than it sounds.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, good catch. We definitely needed to mention that.
Yeah, and we hope that those are the small steps that we are taking with each update to make sure, okay, here you will have less clicks, here you will have an easier access to information, and this is all of those quality of life improvements that hopefully make the game easier and easier to play with, especially at the later stages of the game.
Yeah.
So Boy and France, to answer your question, as far as the 3D models go of the avatars, one of the things that came with the Vauban update is a performance increase across the board. So you will notice that the game runs more smoothly, and that in general, especially in the later eras, if you're playing a multiplayer, you're playing with lots of people, the performance should be increased in regards to that. I noticed it when we were streaming, and so I think we'll have to see how much it has an effect, as everybody's computer setup is different, and so it's hard to say exactly how much performance increase you'll see. I can't tell you we'll expect a 15% increase in performance. It's not.
No, it's hard
we
to
would
calculate
like so
like that.
much for if it could work like that, it will be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, this is like when NVIDIA comes out with a new graphics card and they're like, oh, it's 3 times faster, and you're like, well, math is an interesting thing. Let's talk about how that's not exactly, straight 3 times. It's a little misleading, but yeah. So, let us know. Give us your feedback about how the performance feels.
Yeah.
I know I play usually with an FPS counter, because I'm an FPS gamer and that's what I do. I always keep an eye on how many frames I'm getting, so I have a pretty good idea of how much better it is.
Yeah, we
But,
did a lot of performance testing, and we are keeping those actually to make sure that all configurations have a good quality. You can play.
I think it's very important because obviously the 3D models of the characters are beautiful, and we want them to be, beautiful. And
of
so,
course.
having
Shout out to our character artist for all those beautiful avatars. But we definitely want as much people to play Humankind with different configuration and have the same quality.
Definitely. All right, cool.
But as you, if I may be the bad pessimistic cop here a
Let's
bit,
go.
as you said, this is not bulletproof,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
We do hope that you guys will see some improvements, but there are so many. Again, I'm using excuses, but I need to do that. There are so many different type of hardware, so many configuration possible, and inside our games, especially on the later eras, as you mentioned, so many things are happening at the same time, so many processes ongoing that shit can still happen, you know, if if I can say
of
so.
course.
So if you
in
notice,
English, we say, "Pardon my French." So I mean,
pardonnez mon français.
I think you're good.
If you do notice some improvements in performance, let us know. If you do not notice any improvement, let us know. If you notice that it's worse, let us know,
Yeah.
like super really
Like
quickly,
ASAP.
because this is not intended. But we hope it will be working better for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, if you want to give feedback, if you have things that you want to share about it, again, amplifiers. That is the place to go to share your feedback. Obviously, we have a community Discord channel as well. So if you absolutely just refuse to get an account, we still have Discord where you can put your feedback there as well. You can talk about it with our community members. So there are places, and if you really have to, you can Twitter DM me if you want, and I'll forward it on. But not ideal, all right. But yeah, we have a couple of questions about culture balancing, and this is always an interesting thing when people give feedback like, "Hey, do this." A lot has changed maybe since you last played the game. I'm not sure when you've last played the game, but we are always in the process of balancing the game. For example, with the cultures, with the wonders, balancing them so that they fit better with the new wonders, also making some of them stronger, because maybe their bonuses were a little bit weak before. In the past we've had patches where we've balanced the cultures. We've done things to make certain cultures more relevant, give them a bit of a boost, added effects, and maybe you haven't heard about these things. Again, if you're not keeping an eye on the patch notes, if you're not keeping an eye on our live streams where we're talking about these updates, you may have missed it. I don't want to accuse you or anything like that, but it's something that we are working on. I just want to defend ourselves a little bit. We are actually doing these things, and on top of that, even if you're like, it's not enough, then we have an active community of modders who literally have made quote-unquote balance mods. I know Dr. Kane is one of the most prolific of the balance modders, and he has some great options for mods that completely shift around different values, honestly provide kind of a different game experience in general, because just things are so different, which a lot of people really like. A lot of people like the vanilla experience. It's up to you. And that kind of leads us straight into modding, I guess, as a topic, which we have up until this point used mod.io because it was a great platform, integrated into the game. It was a cross-platform way to share mods. But we know that a lot of people have requested for the Steam Workshop to be added as well as an option. And so we have a beta form of the Steam Workshop integration in the game right now. Huge disclaimer, again, it is a beta. We're still working out the kinks in how everything functions with the game. And as well, if you're trying to mix and match mods from the Steam Workshop and mod.io, it's very likely that your game will just not start or will not run. You can't run a game with mods from both. So be very judicial about mods that you're just slapping onto the game. And I think most people that are familiar with mods or have used mods in the past understand that it's not always so simple. So yeah, that's I don't know. Do you want to talk about the Steam Workshop? I've never used Steam Workshop, so I'm not exactly the
even,
expert.
even as a player?
Never, no.
Well, I am not so much of a modder myself as a player. I like the vanilla experience, maybe because since I'm working in the industry, I'm like, okay, give me the way you designed it. But I did use it on a couple of games, XCOM, to be transparent. That transition was super smooth.
It was.
I was like, myself, I was like, oh my
That's
God.
why they pay me the big bucks. Let's, I'm just kidding.
We are extremely happy to be on the Steam Workshop today. We know that it has been a request from day one and maybe before day one, At the time, we decided to favor Mod.io because we wanted to have an agnostic platform, because some of you are playing on Epic Game Store, some of you are playing on the Game Pass. Not necessarily everyone is on Steam. So at the time, we made the business decision of saying, okay, we are going to support only one platform because live game, production time limited. Let's go for something agnostic. We now clearly realize that without giving any precise figures, most of you guys are playing on Steam, and a lot of you have been requesting that. And it makes sense. It makes sense even for us when we are playing the game. We know that it's out there. So we are happy to get that live. We hope that it will enhance your experience because, as Jordan said, we cannot cover everything when it comes to balancing. And I see one of the comments in the chat explaining that mods are a must when playing multiplayer, and I do agree. If you want to have a very precise competitive experience, it's hard for us to provide a meta balancing that will fit a competitive experience because we are not Riot doing League of Legends, We are trying to make a single player game work, but at the same time, we want the multiplayer experience to be good and stuff. So we are very much comfortable with user-generated content. We are very much comfortable with the idea of you guys tweaking your experience thanks to the lovely modding community. We saw the map from Oscar in-game. You mentioned Dr. Kane, Bruno as well. So those are content creators that are able to, provide...
We have too many modders to even mention.
Yeah,
There's so many people in the community that have made mods. In fact, we've actually teased doing a mod on stream and kind of showing the community how to get into the modding tools. So that is something that we still want to do.
Yeah.
I know that Stephanie has talked a lot about spending some time getting into the modding tools to get to a point where she can teach you all. Because I think a lot of people out in the community would be maybe interested in learning about mods, how to make mods themselves. So I think that could be a cool stream later on if you all think that that's a good idea. So yeah, I think what you're saying is exactly perfect.
Yeah.
It's a healthy relationship.
Exactly.
It's not like we're like,
Exactly.
well, you making a mod about balance is saying we did something wrong. No, it's like you said. It sometimes if you want that competitive experience, you want a certain type of balance, and maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to, and also if you're like adding a bunch of cultures and sometimes you're playing with certain DLC, you're not playing with other DLC, it's almost impossible to completely balance that for every situation.
Exactly. We have to follow a certain pattern, a certain scheme of things. We have some rules in terms of creative vision, pillars, and production. And we have some creative freedom, obviously, but at the end of the day, we cannot do everything. Modding allows for an alternative experience based on our initial vision, and it's super cool. More people playing the game in the way that they want to do. To quote a famous fast food chain, I think they said,
"Have it your way."
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember. Venez comme vous êtes in French. Well, play 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 comme vous êtes. Yeah, come as you are, exactly. Play as you are. We are happy with that.
Are you really sitting there?
What is that company?
I'm not going to plug them. It's
okay,
it's
yeah.
a huge fast
I'm
food
trying to
company.
remember what that is.
That was maybe the worst comparison ever, and I'm going to say that. But
Yeah,
so
okay.
yeah, Steam Workshop, and yes, beta version. Again, bad cop. Be careful. Should you be playing with mod.io and Steam Workshop at the same time? Be aware of what you do. Obviously, generally speaking, players who plays with mods, they know what they are doing, but yeah, keep it in mind. And again, as usual, if you have any issues, let us know.
Yeah.
Amplifier, Discord, Twitter. Send us a note or anything, but we'll tweak on that.
Cool. Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that is most of the things that we wanted to cover. I was like, Lucy,
Yeah.
you got
No, that's
You got
that's
other
most No, I was just reading one of the comments. There's no multiplayer balancing as a actual balancing, but we did a lot of multiplayer improvements actually.
yeah. Boy and France is
Whether
basically
they're
saying that
coming
like
on the Wonders Pack or later in the year, you will see a lot of multiplayer improvements.
But I think Boy Force is more referring to the design side
Yeah,
of it
no.
in terms of balancing.
well, and they're not even
That might
saying that
be.
we're not doing it. They're saying that we're not trying to make an esports title here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but you said it well. It's not mega focused. If we had, getting back to this whole live production and live team being limited, we have to make some choices in terms of priority. Benoit, alongside Lucie and Emilien, the producers, in order to, okay, this is the creative vision and this is the means and the tool that we have. Okay, what can we do? What do we do? If we had unlimited money, unlimited people, unlimited power, and unlimited everything, we will tackle everything, and we will have to have someone actually dedicated to trying to improve the multiplayer balancing only. Unfortunately, and obviously, this is not possible, so we are taking a look at it from times to times, when times allow, when priority allow, but since we are a single player game and a multiplayer game, we cannot do indeed everything at the same time. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got that reference.
And in terms of actual percentages of people, unfortunately, as somebody who loves multiplayer way more than playing against AI, just by sheer numbers, the percentage of people that play multiplayer is a small fraction of the whole player base. And so I think, as a team, you're trying to decide what is the best thing that you can do to make the game better for the most people. It's kind of a philosophical argument of like utilitarian, But 100%, like you were saying, with the naval update that's coming later in the year, for the naval rework, we're definitely focused on making that combat experience better.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Benoit was dropping all sorts of like hints and things in yesterday's stream. If you haven't seen yesterday's stream, go back and watch it. But yeah, he was mentioning a lot of exciting things that will be coming in the next.
I feel when I did not have the
Next
opportunity to fully look at the VOD, when
Yeah.
I'm hearing you, I feel like he told too much.
I
think he talked too much.
I mean, no, I think he made hints at things. But I don't
Those are
think
the
Yeah.
bad cops here, like, what did he say? Oh my
But
god!
he
Yeah,
didn't-
because I
he
was
didn't
there for
mention
the
any
beginning of the
specifics.
stream, but not the last parts, and I feel like that's when he kind of opened up maybe a little too much.
maybe,
But
yeah, I don't know. Maybe we have to go back and watch it.
it teased a lot of things, but
And I do
I mean,
know that
that's-
there are people that play multiplayer all the time, and I know that that's definitely some. The only reason why some people do play, but there are also some people that never play it. And I think that as humans, we really think about things in terms of ourselves, because we're very self-centered people. As humans, we think about the things through our lens, our way of thinking. And so if you're a single player person, you might think, oh, everybody plays single player. And if you're a multiplayer person, you think everybody plays
Yeah.
multiplayer.
Yeah,
When in reality, that's not the case,
this bias in terms of perception is very true. I myself, before joining Amplitude last year, I had never played before a 4X multiplayer. Never. And I've
Yeah.
played Civilization since C3. I played Endless Space, Endless Legend, Endless Space 2, and Humankind before coming. I'm not the biggest of 4X player out there, but I played it, my fair share. And it never even occurred to me to play as a multiplayer. It's just not my... I would say ce n'est pas ma cam en français, but I like the English way of saying it. It's not the way I play my 4Xs. Now that I've been here, I've played a bit with my team. Some of them are here. I've beaten them at Endless Space 2. I had a lovely time, and I kind of get it. But
you're here to brag.
yeah, maybe a bit.
Yeah, my cup of tea. So
My
it's
cup
not
of
your
tea, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, this is not the way.
But yeah. At the end of the day, again, we would like to cater for everyone's, but.
Yes, you have spoken.
I think this is an interesting discussion about statistics, because actually, as a data person, I should have this information, but
Yeah,
I
you
don't have
should.
this information. But we are going to take.
Yeah, So, but yeah, no, I like what you're saying, and you know, if I didn't spend all day reading everybody's comments online, I think I would have a much more shallow perspective of things.
Yeah.
But being forced to literally read every single person's opinion and everybody's different feedback, you really get the idea that, you know, there are a ton of different people that want a ton of different things and value different things much differently. You know, you're like, oh, I really care about this. And some people are like, I could care less about that. You know, I much prefer this. And so.
Yeah. But boy, in France, you have the proper mindset. Make your voice heard. If you like multiplayer, let us know. If you like single player, let us know. If you like both, let us know. And then we'll try to arrange accordingly in terms of priorities.
Yeah, I mean, as a psychology major, you know, you deal with the quiet majority, vocal minority type issues too. When you're trying to get data from a set of people, in this sense, our community, when you're trying to get information from you about what you want, some of you aren't very vocal about what you want, whereas other people are like, yes, we need this, like, you know, like the console players for Humankind. They're very vocal, very passionate, and I love that because it reminds me that people are really excited about it. So please do, you know, make your voice heard. Yeah, I did a organizational psychology cluster, so it's kind of like, you know, psychology on a larger scale, more of like applicable to business in terms of like a psychiatry type thing where you're diagnosing people. But of course we had to take all of those similar classes of like normal psychology, and I took neuropsych classes and stuff, which was super interesting.
Oh my God. I did a video game degree.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I mean, I started off as biochem, so it was a pretty big shift for me, actually.
Yeah.
I was spending 3 hours in the lab, and I was just like, I don't want to be here anymore. I need to be around people.
Yeah.
I found my calling. I was like, no more chemicals for me. Airplane improvements are definitely something that the designers know.
Yeah.
You know, I think Benoit and I have literally talked about
It's
like
somewhere in our minds. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
What time is it? Should we take a
Q&A and then we'll be out? Yeah. Well, you'll be out, but I'll still be here.
maybe we can take a look at the future. I think we have a bit of a teasing.
Let's talk about the not a roadmap. Roadmap.
Yeah, roadmap.
Roadmap.
Kind roadmap-ish.
Not a roadmap. What's next?
Yeah, roadmap.
Continuous community feedback monitoring.
Yes. So as you can see here, we wanted to share with you guys a bit of visibility of what's coming for Humankind. So as you can say, we are using the term roadmap here fairly loosely because this is not, well, for Lucy, this is not a roadmap. You don't have a planning, you don't have a release date, etc.
Yeah.
Obviously, we cannot be fully transparent about everything because we are not sure about what we can do. We need to assess again priorities. Those priorities might shift and so on and so on. There are a lot of stuff to manage and to unravel one day at a time. But this, what we can show you today, is kind of what we are able to, you know, show visibility on. So we have some improvements. This is already known, I believe.
We've talked at length about the naval.
Yeah, so we know that the naval experience at launch was not as polished, as satisfying as other systems to the game, especially when it comes to the exploration and when it comes to the naval battle itself. So we have a lot of ideas about what could be better and also how to work on the trade and resources management, especially luxury resources, because today you are looking at your luxury resources. It's mainly something to manage your stability. You know, okay, I'm gonna buy all of Jordan resources and I'm gonna make sure that my stability is good enough, and then you most of the time kind of forget about them. This is definitely not something we are satisfied with. We want this to be better, to make more sense. And there is also something about the trade in terms of putting the trade with a physical sense on the map and maybe having some opportunities by ransacking or just being there physically in a specific region to kind of have an impact more visible on the trade route. So
a lot of these ideas that we're looking at for these improvements as well are based off of community feedback. A lot of these ideas have been floated around in the community specifically about the trade and resources as well. And I know that for the naval rework, we're directly looking at ideas from the community as far as what to put in that specifically. My most recent things that I've heard about the naval rework are from a couple months ago, though, so I don't even know where we're at right now. Part of me wants to be surprised as a player, because I'm like, I'm going to have to play this on stream, and so I kind of want to keep my surprise, but I'm also curious as well.
I would say that, so I won't be saying much about it because I can get wrong, and I think this will be for a later time, but I think I can fairly say that if we manage, and I'm looking at Lucy to put all the pressure on her, you know, if we manage to deliver what we want to do, it's going to be great.
It's going to be awesome. Our game designer for the naval rework did an amazing job, and I actually can't wait for the community to be able to see what we did. Yes.
I mean, I like being surprised. I don't think anybody's ever done like a surprise party for me before. But like,
yeah, me neither, actually.
some people hate surprises, but I would be like jazzed. You know,
So
I don't know.
if somebody can organize something,
No, see,
Yeah, well, not too organized.
I'm not. I don't want to.
Something.
I don't want to ask.
I saw a question at some point in
IRL.
the chat regarding dates. Please note that all of this has no precise date attached to it. It should happen within the coming fiscal year, as we say, but within the next 12 months, but it could
is
be before,
Between
after.
quarter 2 of 2023
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
quarter 1 of 2024, but obviously subject to change.
Yeah.
You can hear us guys taking a lot of being super careful, etc. We would like to give you.
Well, we don't want to overpromise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
because
it.
you know we need to be realistic about what our team can accomplish
Yes.
in the coming months. But you know, it is a good kind of reminder of, you know, if you do want to support the development of our game, if you love Humankind, if you want to see these things happen, you know, our game is on sale right now. It's 80% off. It's the lowest
King
the
of
base
transition.
game has ever been, and the DLCs are all on sale as well. You have the Together We Rule expansion, the Cultures of Latin America, the Africa Rising DLC. Those are all on sale.
Yep.
So
If you, and as usual, if you like the game, feel free to leave us a positive review. This tremendously helps us. If you don't like the game, feel free to come on Amplifiers and tell us why. And you can
Yeah.
leave a negative review as
Yeah.
well, but we will prefer to have a chat with you. Because we rely, and we are reading, again, all of your feedbacks. This is why, again, in this visual that you are seeing, the community IDs is mentioned again, because this is part of the experience and of what we are providing.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean, the power that you have as a community is paramount. You know, we have a lot of, you know, power as a company to market our game and, you know, do the best that we can to make it a good game for you to play. But, you know, you as a community, you have a huge amount of influence.
Yes. Yes.
You know, to tell your friends about the new update, to write a review on Steam. You know, people care about these things and they look at these things. And yeah, like Stephanie mentioned, the DLC is free right now. So if you have friends that maybe haven't picked up the game yet, literally it's $10, and in dollars,
yeah.
and in euros, I think it's $10 as well.
I think it's €9.99.
Yeah.
I would say.
So you know, you get a game and a free DLC already, plus all the free updates that have already been in the game as well,
Yeah.
and community things that we've won. So
Yes,
yeah, it's a great time to get into Humankind. Honestly,
most definitely, and more exciting things are coming. And yeah, I think the DLC is free up until May 10th,
May 10th.
which happens to be my 33rd birthday. Actually.
Congratulations!
So I'm able to plug it here. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a,
surprise birthday party.
I don't know. Just a lot of happy players on Humankind will be my best reward. You know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's £8, British pounds.
Mm.
Got it. Yeah, I don't. When I started getting into the price, I was like, this is only relevant for like 2 countries. So yeah. But anyways, yeah. Okay, let's open it up for questions. Yeah.
Yep.
Because we've talked a little bit about these things that are coming up next. We will have that graphic on our social media.
Yep.
So if you want to review the graphic, you can go in there.
I think we should have. I don't want to say anything stupid, Sergio, Stephanie, so you'll correct me, but we might have a dedicated blog at some point on the roadmap, but we need more time to properly organize text information, etc. But the
We got some
visual
time.
should be on the socials fairly soon.
Right now, we'll just enjoy the Wonders DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll have new things later.
At some point, sure. This is Serio talking about planning,
Yeah.
At some point. Maybe one day. Who knows?
Very cool. But are there any questions? If you have questions about the Wonders DLC, about the Vauban update, about our favorite flavor of ramen, about Simone's amazing smile, Lucy's just glowing appearance. she's so healthy.
I am glowing actually.
She's so healthy. I mean, any questions? We can field any questions. If we don't know, we will honestly tell you we don't know, and we'll find somebody who does, because that's the kind of people we are. I'm sure that there were some questions during the stream that we didn't get to as well. I tried to do my best to look at the chat. We got the console. I almost said Mac version. We got the console version question out of the way.
There was some discussion about multiplayer, about balancing.
Multiplayer.
I did see additional.
There were some questions about like scaling events that I saw. One was one of them, and then a rebalance of the star scoring fame.
So this one is tricky. We did have a conversation fairly recently, like a couple of hours ago, about that.
I think we did a little bit of work on the fame leaderboard and on the builder era star, if I remember correctly, because it was actually giving less fame than other stars.
Yeah.
So we corrected that.
This is what I remember as well. There was some miscalculation, let's say, to make it simple on the builder era start. When it's come to changing the system as a whole, because I think that was the underlying question, this is not part of the short-term plan. We know that not all players are happy with that. We understand why. I understand why as a player as well. But this is a core system to the game, and changing this core system has a lot of consequences on other areas of the game, so it's risky, basically. It's risky. So not out of the pictures, definitely not, because you are not the only one talking about that, but nothing guaranteed, especially on the short term.
Yeah, I think especially with the expansion, the Together We Rule expansion and the diplomacy stars, I feel like you can get to 7 stars pretty quickly at this point. And so, but keep in mind, there are mods where people have made it so that you have to get 10 stars per era. I don't remember what the mod is called, but I do know that there are mods that force you to get more stars. But I also think it is important to keep in mind that you can play Humankind how you want. Unless you're playing in a multiplayer game, as a single player, you can tell yourself, you know what, I'm going to get 10 stars. I'm going to get 12 stars. You can choose however long you want. But I still do understand, and like you were saying, Simon, we do understand where you're coming from. Obviously, if the AI start moving on to the future eras and taking the cultures that you want, it can be frustrating. So definitely aware of it, not something that is on our roadmap just yet. But
if we are talking, because I see your additional comment about in France, if we are talking about rebalancing on specific stars and not changing the system, I honestly don't know, because it does not sound...
Changing values is usually one of the easier things to do.
But again, there may be some side effects, We will follow up. I think there is a question.
I know that like for me the merchant stars usually feel really tough to get, or like the influence stars, especially later eras, feel really tough to get. But like in the early eras, the military stars seem really easy to get. So I think that potentially, that's something that we can bring up with the team.
I'm sure that's something on the back of our game designer's mind. So we'll probably be able to do something, but like we said, it's not directly on our roadmap just yet. But obviously, that's something we have to keep in mind. That's part of the balancing we do for every update.
Good question. The question about the event scaling. I guess if you have an event at the end of the game, or that pops up at the end of the game, some of the rewards for that event may not be as consequential. I have never felt like that was an issue for me, but maybe now that there's more events spawning, maybe that'll be something. I don't know if there's any scaling that happens. Do you know? Or
For the events.
for the events? Yeah. Did they
Uh,
scale with
I honestly don't know.
the
I
turns?
honestly don't know.
Okay, we need we need
We need
somebody
somebody-
who.
we
I
need a
don't.
designer.
Honestly, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a rebalancing of the effects if they were too strong or not enough. But maybe on the rewards as well.
Okay. Interesting.
Maybe if the rewards was not enough compared to what you had to sacrifice in comparison, we buffed it a bit, but I don't think we reduced them.
Okay, I think that's definitely a topic that we could maybe go into
Yeah.
further on another stream. More questions. Let's get more questions up in here. From Raimo Torbach, I recognize your name from yesterday. Do you have any ideas about introducing conditions to each cultures? In other words, access limitation, like resource access, adjacencies, etc.
This is a very good question. This is one of the biggest community ID actually on Amplifier in terms of support. So this is, you are not the only one, that's for certain. So the question is, do you have any IDs? The answer for this will be yes.
Yes,
We
we
have
have a lot.
ideas. Are we going to do anything? The answer to that is likely not to maybe, I would say.
Okay.
This is definitely Benoit's scope here in terms
Yeah.
of vision. But we had some actually heated discussion about this. There were some debates about this whole thing inside the team in itself. But it's complicated to do it because this is a change of paradigm into what the culture switch feature is today. And so to have it properly done, it's an investment because it's a core system. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm saying this a lot, unfortunately, because this is part of my job. So it will be an investment to be done right, and it could be bug prone, etc. So it's complicated to tackle. But ideas, most definitely, because it could make sense to have this sort of experience and to have the playing field influence what you can do in terms of follow-up. But right now, not something that should be seen in the near future.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Looks like Stephanie has added a little bit more context as well in the chat.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you,
Any more
Steph.
questions? I think we got more questions. Big bottle for a big thirst. You know how it goes.
Yeah, I have a smaller bottle.
It's still pretty big,
That's
to be
still,
honest.
yeah.
So I think I saw other question apart from the people asking me to do a triangle
Yeah.
side. I saw you the triangle guys.
Is it the Illuminati? What is going
Bah,
on here?
so this is not an Illuminati plug, but the place where we are used to go to have some beers, actually to have some drinks. It's called Le Triangle, the Triangle.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's super close to here. And so the rallying signal when we need to go there is like we go into the office.
The
and we-
clarion call. I see.
Exactly. Can we expect another big sales expansion like whether we roll in the future? We'd like to,
Yeah.
but we cannot confirm it as of today. If we have the means to do it in terms of,
Budget.
if I may be so blunt in terms of money.
It's okay to
and-
be blunt in
Yeah,
terms
yeah.
of
In,
that.
in terms
'cause I
of
mean,
money and people, we'd like to, but it's not something we can guarantee as of today. More content, more updates, potentially other DLCs. Yes, something in the Scales Together we will to be seen.
yeah, very cool.
That's
All
a
right,
nice
more
answer.
questions. Let's keep them rolling and see how many questions we can get through. Because I think that there were quite a few questions at the beginning that
Yeah.
I maybe didn't get to. I'm not sure if we wrote them down.
I did see some additional comments regarding multiplayer and why the fact that the culture were not balanced and the fact that there were some instabilities and quality of service issues, and this is why players were not into multiplayer. So again, I think it's a matter of balance. Some people will never be into multiplayer, but you guys, I believe, are right to a certain extent as well.
Sometimes it can create the problem itself.
Yeah.
If people feel like, because I know at the beginning when we first launched Humankind, the multiplayer definitely had its issues to the point where we weren't playing it on stream because, a lot of times you'd get desynchronized with the other players. We worked on that. It improved a lot. But you know, how many people don't play multiplayer because it wasn't good, and now they don't play it because other people don't play it. So sometimes it's a little bit of a cycle.
Yeah.
I will say our Discord is a place where a lot of people get together to play in multiplayer matches. So if you are interested in multiplayer and you just aren't because you don't know who to play with, do keep in mind that we do have like LFG groups on our Discord, so you can find other people to play with.
And sorry, I was thinking but I wanted to add up. Lucy was telling earlier on the multiplayer that the team is still working on the quality of service, instability, disconnection and stuff. We need to make a differentiation between content balancing on multiplayer. This is not something which is likely to happen, and debug instability, network performance. This is definitely something that we are always on top of things to try to address, because this is bugs, this is quality. This is quality of service, and this is what we need to do. So if you guys are still facing some instability, some desync and stuff, we want to get better at this, most definitely. I think we had some other question. I don't know. What time is it?
Honestly, we're good to keep on chatting. Chat. Are we still having a good time? We still if y'all are like, let's get to the gameplay. Then shout out gameplay if you want gameplay. Shout out more questions if you want more questions. I don't know. I'm more than happy to do what the chat wants.
I see a very creative, fun question about what will be Humankind 2 if we
what would you change if you were to make Humankind?
Lucy, what would you change? Let's pretend that we are Benoit right now, because this is not our job. We are not.
Yeah, this is something that more of like a game director would probably be the best to answer. But I think that we can give a little bit of an idea.
I know. Tricky question.
I know one of the things that's very like specifically, and that's the like global warming. One of the hugest things that was talked about from the very beginning, that due to the way that Humankind 1 is just not possible. So going forward to a Humankind 2, that's something that we would definitely look at making happen. Obviously, like, you know, I don't know, I'm not the director, I'm not the I don't make these decisions, but like I think that was one that was talked about.
No, I'd love actually to see the environment in Humankind have a real gameplay purposes, like you said, global warming, or where you are on the map. Maybe you are on a sterile terrain, and you actually have less access to food resources or stuff like that. You know, for the map to have a gameplay use.
Yeah, your location and where you choose to settle down has more of like an impact on your gameplay later.
That way you could choose more wisely where you put your outpost. And
I mean, I just kind of look I just say, oh, make an outpost, and I'm like, oh, 15-15, that's a good spot. I always remember later, I'm like, oh yeah, there are like natural wonders I could have found, and the bonuses on those are pretty great. So I'm like, oh, man.
So that's one thing.
That's one thing
I would love for potential Humankind 2. What about you, Simon?
I was trying to think. That's why I gave you the ball. I was trying to think about it. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough because also since we are on this side of the business. You know, it's hard to have like an unbiased opinion. But okay, let's say it's only the player talking. Let's forget about everything else. I like a bit more anecdote factory story, not directly narrative event, but narrative event of part of that. You know, what is the story of my empire? You know, I don't know if you guys saw the Lucy trailer back in 2017 or 18, I would say, with the story of Lucy and Lucy, who is going to conquer the Caribbean islands thanks to the help of the Japanese against the ugly French or something like that, and then afterwards she creates rock and roll or something. I was not part of Amplitude at that time. I was still at Ubisoft and still working for another company. and when I saw the trailer, it touched something in me, like, okay, this is my fantasy. This is what I want to do. And in the end, in the game, it's not as customized as that, obviously. But I guess that as a player, this is maybe also some kind of roguelite, inspiration as a player as well. I really like roguelite experiences. So yeah, like each game is pretty much a different story, but the story is also put in my face. I want the game to narrate it to me.
Yeah.
I think what you're explaining resonates really strongly with me as a streamer, because creating interesting content around a game is aided greatly by having tools to tell stories and to be able to make unique playthroughs that are completely different than a different playthrough. I think one thing, if you would ask Stephanie what she wants to be different in Humankind 2, would be I think some of the core systems about how the districts work and how you populate districts and things like that. I think it'd be interesting to see maybe exploring different systems for that, because a lot of how you expand, a lot of how you grow your cities is based off of your industry. And I know that this is kind of a common issue in a lot of these games, but the more industry, the more better, And
yeah, production is always king. Production/industry is always king in Forex, and isn't it just a reflection of reality? Yeah, at the end of the day.
Sure, but also I feel like there's a certain amount of maybe new ways to approach that issue that could be taken, so that sure, obviously you need to build things. It's a building game. It's city, it's a city building, empire building, 4X game. But I think in the way that you implement certain factors, I think it can make it different experience.
But yeah, I mean, for our creatives and for us as a whole, should we have the opportunity one day to do Humankind 2, the playing field the possibilities are endless,
Yeah.
I would say.
I like it. I think there's probably some members of our community that haven't played an endless game yet, which, definitely I highly suggest. If you like Humankind, definitely try out Endless Legend. Is the most similar to Humankind because it's like tiles, it's a 4X, but it's got, alien factions and stuff. Endless Space 2, obviously, a very good game as well.
This is my favorite Amplitude game. I'm a huge fan of Endless Space 2, but I'm not going to talk about Endless Space 2 on the Humankind stream because I'm going to get scolded about that.
But yeah. Cool. I think that we any other questions, Etienne, or are we good to transition? I think we're good to go. All right. We'll be right back. We're just going to switch on over and we're going to head over to some gameplay. Stephanie will come back on screen. Unfortunately, Lucy and Simone won't be here. But it was fantastic having you for the time that we got. I think we actually got a good bit of time. Yeah. So that was very nice. Yeah. Thank you for all your input. And if there's anything you want to say before you go, feel free to shout out whatever you need to.
It was great. It was great to be here again with you guys, and looking forward to doing it again.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience to be here, and please share your thoughts about the DLC Wonders Pack and the Vauban updates. We can't wait to hear from you guys.
Heck yeah! Thank you so much for being here. You both are lovely, and we'll be back very soon. Don't go anywhere. We'll have. I know our streams normally end at 8. We'll probably go a little bit after, just so that we can get a little bit more gameplay in. So yeah, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Bye, guys.
you.